The Patronarchy.
So, Zoja, tell the people of your encounters with the Patronarchy.
Oh, geez. Okay. So I'll start with the most recent and then I'll, digress a little bit further back. So before the pandemic, my side hustle was a medical esthetician. And for people who don't know what that is, basically I'm 2 to 3 steps down from like a dermatologist or a nurse practitioner, basically like a skincare therapist.
All right.
So people who need laser hair removal, chemical peels, microdermabrasion, photofacials, fractional laser, like basically I was your girl. So I worked in an office, sometimes remotely by myself, which I wasn't the biggest fan of because I have other stories that probably aren't appropriate for this podcast, but I definitely have stories. I never liked being alone, but I met a woman. She was from another country and she wanted laser hair removal. And I was going to be servicing her. And initially we got off on the right foot, I thought. And then I realized the type of customer that she was going to be, where she was never going to be satisfied, no matter what I did. I could have given her like plasma, my car. There was going to be nothing that made this woman happy. And I don't know the pivotal moment of her and I working together, because she would just come in decked out to the nines, like designer bag. Everybody knows the type, hair done, would circle places on her body that I supposedly missed. Now, just to educate the audience, if you're working with a laser tech for laser hair removal, it's not a permanent fix. I always tell people nobody can control your genetics, the medications that you're on, and most importantly, age and hormones. So this is something I always explain because there's a lot of swindlers out there that promise you the moon. I do not do that. I'm fully transparent with people.
Awesome.
And well, I mean, and if that upsets people, I would rather not take the $1,000. I mean, keep your money and go give that headache to somebody else. So as we continued working, she got more and more condescending with me. Now, I'm a very patient individual, but as time progressed, I got more and more frustrated, which caused me to get snippy. What broke the camel's back was the last session that she came in, and I just was quiet. I didn't even ask how she was. I just hit that point because every time she came in, she was so rude to me. She never tipped me. By the way, anybody who's listening, tip your medical estheticians, please. That's how a lot of times that we make our money. So just a little plug for anybody out there.
I feel you. I was a Lyft driver for a while, and Lyft was doing tips before Uber was doing it, and I for a while I was wondering, is it just me? Because people would not leave tips. Many of my customers I would pick up would not leave tips, and then finally I met another Lyft driver who had been doing it longer. And they're like, yeah, no, it's a problem. Everybody in this town's like bad at it. It just sucks. But
it is.
Yeah, always if you're in a business and you know that business where the employees can accept tips, please tip.
Do it.
We're not asking for we're not asking for a briefcase full of 20s or nothing. Just throw a couple bucks down. That's all it is, people. But anyway, back to your story.
No, it's fine. It's a good plug. So basically, towards the end, she looked at me, and mind you, I had a laser near her lady parts, and this is very pivotal to the story.
Okay.
So,
yes.
So she looked at me and she goes, "It's very difficult for me to comprehend that you have a job like this when it looks like you got tattoos out of prison."
What? Well, excuse, what the fuck? What?
And I looked at her, and I just would like the audience to know I'm always very cool, calm, and collected. And I looked at her and I said, "You can get the fuck off my table. We are done here." And I stormed out of the office, I went to my manager and I looked at her directly in the eyes. I said, if you have to fire me because of the language that I used, so be it. I said, I will not be disrespected like that.
Wow.
And my boss finished her appointment. I was shaking. I wanted to go basically like slash this lady's tires. But the good news is they let me keep my job. They totally understood, because out of the 4 years of me being there, I was always very kind. So this lady just had a chip on her shoulder, and each time it was something negative or insulting. And obviously she's not, something's going on within her, which I always try to see both sides of the coin, but there's just no excuse to insult anybody.
No, hell no. That's old negative stereotype about tattoos and all that stuff. Obviously, I mean, I don't have any tattoos, but you are, I've got plenty of friends like you who have tattoos, and it's just a form of expression.
Sure.
And at the end of the day, you also got to respect the tattoo artists, because, it's not, I've seen pictures online of bad tattoos, so, it's something you got to show respect for. And it doesn't mean like, I just don't, it's a generational thing. Like, I mean, I kind of get it and stuff like that for like older generations. But for me, it's just, because I had one of my former jobs, they didn't mind if you had tattoos, but you had to cover up. And that,
oh God.
Yeah, they had, like, I had some of my coworkers had to wear long sleeves, but if they didn't have a long sleeve, I had one coworker had to put this big, like, giant Band-Aid on to cover up his tattoo. But eventually, even that place, I've been back to there since I moved on to a different job. And now the employees there are allowed to display their tattoos. I don't know if they have some restrictions, like, oh, you can, unless your tattoo is this or whatever, but people are starting to come around to it more and more. I mean, I've been to, like, fast food places, nicer restaurants, the librarians, I've seen them with like visible tattoos, and it's just, so it's getting better out there. But then you have those people like this client who's just like a holdout of that old way of thinking that tattoo means this. I'm like, no, tattoo means what it means to that individual. It changes. I mean, just these old ideas of tattoos.
Well, and I always say, because when somebody owns a company, they're allowed to hire whomever they choose, if that's the image that you don't want, and I'm always very fully transparent. I'm like, listen, you don't want to hire me because there's obviously nothing that I can do. They're kind of there. But I think with her, she was just kind of finding anything she could to just pick on me, because our age difference wasn't, I mean, she was probably about 10 to 15 years older. So she was probably like in, like, maybe like her early 40s, maybe late 40s. So she was probably enough around of it, like, to know. But I just think she was just looking for a fight,
Okay, she didn't have anything solid on you, so she went for the easy route. Okay, I see what you're saying. Hey everyone, if you enjoyed that and you want to see the full episode, click the link on the left. If you want to see what else I got, click the one on the right.